basically everything that you see in the warehouse here came out of the factory in Northern Ireland when it closed in 1982. Most of these are new engines.
Okay.
Came out of the factory 30 years ago, never been installed in a car.
So you guys going with the Peugeot engine, and what transmission do I use for most applications?
Well, the factory only used one engine.
Okay.
And it was supplied to Delorean in a joint deal between Peugeot, Renault, and Volvo.
Okay.
Commonly called a PRV.
Okay.
2.8 liters, all aluminum head, all aluminum block. In stock form, puts out about 130 horsepower, which for the day was average. The car weighs about 2,900 pounds, so it seems to work out pretty well. Renault also supplied the 5-speed manual transmission like you see here, and the 3-speed automatic transmission. All of these units are still brand new factory units. You know, there's just a little under 3 million individual parts here in the building, most of which came out of the factory. There's about 1,000 doors left here in the building for the Delorean car, almost evenly matched between left and right.
Okay.
At the current rate of sale, that's probably about a 60-year supply. Based on the number of doors, which would be the hardest part of the car to actually reproduce, we can do about 500 cars. The factory originally built about 9,200 cars. We estimate there's about 7,500 or so left.
Okay.
But literally, out of the 2,800 or so different parts that make up the DeLorean, we've got better than 99% parts availability right here, right now. Each of these little boxes has a DeLorean part number on it with all stuff that we got. Like I said, we've just been doing inventory. Again, doors, the tall boxes are all these rear louver sunshades here. Door sills, fascias, all these boxes are dashboards. We just had dashes reproduced not that long ago.
Okay.
These wooden crates are some of the new windshields. But basically, as I was saying, there's 2,800 different parts that make up a DeLorean, and they're all here in this building. In the computer, each part number has a location. Like right now, we're in aisle B5, so this is location B551B, and it's got timing covers in that location.
These are all brand new?
These are all brand new.
Do y'all just do one-off restorations? I mean, I can see this line of cars here. These are ready for production?
These are cars waiting their turn in line for service or restoration. I think we may own one of those in there that will become a certified pre-owned
Okay.
car. But for the most part, everything that's here is, we have a handful of cars that we own and sell. We have a handful of company cars, some test cars that we use for new products. That's new product development. On this aisle, you see some of the chassis that we have left remaining. It's a steel chassis that's been coated with epoxy, and the deal was the epoxy would keep it from rusting because it wasn't just bare steel or a bare painted steel.
Okay.
By and large, it's worked out pretty good. The epoxy over time will get brittle, and then as the frame twists and flex, it'll crack, and you can get moisture trapped on the inside, and it'll rust from the inside out. Every drawing that the factory had in its possession at the time of closure was what's here now.
Okay.
There are a couple of different sets. The set that we have, it was from the receiving department. So, so that when a part came in, they could check it against a drawing, make sure that it was to spec.
Okay.
So we know that it's the latest spec of the drawing. But all the engineering changes are here too, which explained why they made some of the changes they made. We're going to go into the shop here now. We have 3 full-time techs who do nothing but service and restoration on the cars, and I have a crew of 2 who actually do the assembly on the cars.
So what work is going on right now? Just restoration or mainly service, like on this one?
I would say this. Todd's probably doing the checkout on this car right now, where customer has shipped a client into it. They know it needs work. They don't know necessarily exactly what kind of work it needs. So we have a 12-page inspection.
Wow.
It'll take Todd probably the better part of the day.
Just a full-pun inspection for it?
Yeah. And then from that, we'll create the estimate, and we'll sit down with the customer, or we'll talk to them over the phone, and we'll say, okay, well, these are the safety critical items. These are the things that need to be done. These are things that are more cosmetic, you know, that you can wait on, things you could probably do yourself. And then with the customer in charge of the whole operation, I will decide what gets done.
What does a restoration usually go for in one of these DeLoreans?
It can vary. We have a kind of a rule of thumb. For every year a DeLorean has been sitting, we can figure on spending somewhere between 1,000 and 2,000 in parts and labor.
Okay.
So if it's been sitting for 10 years, you can figure somewhere probably between 10 and 20, closer to the 20 end. If it's been sitting 3 years, you know, it could be as little as, you know, 3,000 to 6,000. We have the time to spend on each individual body, as opposed to where they were cranking out 40 to 80 of them a day. They had to go to the grill.
Take the time to details for sure. Whenever y'all pull out the engines, y'all do kind of like a rehab to them, kind of tear them apart?
For this particular engine that's going, or for this particular car, no, all we'll do is we'll take this engine out and then we'll stick it on the shelf. We'll take a brand new one off the shelf and it'll be a brand new engine. And, you know, out of the 2,800 or so parts that go into making the DeLorean, as we talked about, there's maybe 30 or 40 that will carry over from this actual donor to the actual new car that we assemble. Everything else will come out of the warehouse like you saw here. Nuts, bolts, washers, glass, stainless, seats, carpets, everything.
What would a new DeLorean off the showroom floor run?
Cars that we build start out at 57.5.
57.5.
With options, things like the performance engine, suspension, stereos, things like that, heated and cooled seats, all the stuff that people want to get. They'll typically run in the mid to upper 60s.